Howdy, folks. Double cheers. How's your grand rising starting out here? Gonna get the right mic on. Yo, yo. Howdy, folks. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And if not, maybe you're soaking it in, you know. Feeling the misery of the moment, the despair. What's up there, Lou? How you doing, good dog? You such a good dog. You such a good dog. My little parasite dog. My dog's always there to reintroduce parasites into me, which is nice. Keep the dog around just to stick its nose in some other animal's asshole so it can come back and try to kiss me. We're torturing ourselves here, folks. Well, you're such a good dog, though, Mr. Claude. What are you doing, mister? You're such a good boy. Oh, you're such a good dog. You are such a good dog. I love you. You can't kiss me. No. I'm not going to let you kiss me. I know you want to, you little parasite dog. Get down. Get down, you little parasite hound. There's the parasite hound. Now they're going to fucking fight each other. I riled them up. I just did an update to my OBS, and it seems to not be functioning the best. YouTube control panel is all fucked up. I don't get it. I hear you, dude. My dog is talking because I'm talking. I'm going to have to put him back outside. I thought we could do this. You could be respectful. Maybe the dog has more to say than I do. You want to speak? Should I give you the mic? Are you going to bark at him? Here, tell him what you got to say. This is your moment. Here you go. Tell him. Tell them, you're pissed. Tell them they're slaves. They didn't stand for nothing. Bunch of loser failures. They're pathetic, and you fucking had enough. You expected more. He's fucking fired up. You hear that? What else you gotta say? Tell him. Tell him to fuck off. All right. You've said enough. We get it. Now go lay down. Go lay down. Hey, go. Peace, love, and a basket full of kind. All right. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go. Go lay down. Very talkative dog today. Maybe it's Timmy's in the well or something. The dog's trying to lead me to some situation that I could affect positively, and I'm staring at a black screen, attempting to translate some kind of message. No, I'll make it brief today. If anyone tuned in and you want to hear a message of positivity, some kind of uplifting concept that will help you transmutate negative energy into a positive thing in your life, whether that be a storm that you're going through, tribulation, difficulty, you're looking at how you can affect positive change. You've got a perspective of being the catalyst that can shift and change the sands that you're currently standing on, that you're not just waiting for reality to give you a prompt, but you're looking to be your own solution, to get high on your own supply. And you want to know, what do you do when you face difficulty? What do you do when you face struggle? How do you level up, so to speak, in a way that's authentic, not just some Jim Bros nonsense, gonna create some narcissistic, thin exterior of lies to try to represent to the world that didn't accept you anyway. And why would you want the acceptance of that? So if you want to be real about that process and realize what the gem is that can be discovered through the fire of your refinement, it absolutely is tied to your own spiritual development, self-development, which is spiritual development. Anyone that's going to say, level up, you got to get in great shape, you got to do all these, that's all a byproduct of your own spiritual development. If you have the right mindset, that will be something that will happen as a result anyway, because you're going to have self-respect and you're going to consider your routines and if that aligns with your greater disciplines. So the only thing that you can do, brother or sister, if you are struggling in some regard, whatever that may be, family, relationships, job, identity, life purpose, all these types of things, is you have to go through your own internal work. And what does that mean? Because a lot of people say that and they don't quantify it. They don't make it something qualitative that you can actually step into and experience. Well, you have to be for yourself first. You have to love yourself first. You have to give yourself permission to go through that in a way where you're going to define what that process is and what that means, and you're willing to be considerate of your own discernment. You're no longer looking for the pastor or the therapist or the self, I mean, I've never done therapy, but I know people take all these different approaches to fixing themselves, but then they're not listening to their own internal voice, their own discernment, which is often swaying them in a different direction or a different path. It's telling them these supposed gurus and self-help coaches are not really your answer, and they seemingly have the same dysfunction that you're trying to address. I can tell you from personal experience, a person that's authentically dedicated to their own process of overcoming, which may be a better way to characterize it, a better way to frame it up, because that's what we're all doing here, is overcoming the nonsense. This is going to be a much better trajectory than doing the third-party intercessor, same kind of insanity that never got you a good result before. Finally determining that you're going to listen to that internal voice, because often internal work is looked at taking some kind of therapeutic modality and replacing that as an overlay on your self-consciousness and claiming that as a new identity, as if you needed to add something to you to become what you truly are, as opposed to what I'm more presenting is, which is discovering the authentic self, which doesn't need to be added to. It needs to be observed and considered in the process. How often we're just negating what we already know, what we already have an underlying intuition about, to then go chase waterfalls, and chase things that are dissolving right in front of you. that are not sustainable. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Just stick to the toxic residual streams that you're used to not being able to drink from, 'cause they're polluted with chemicals and sewage. Now they just close the waterfalls. I went to a waterfall the other day. It was closed. My buddy went to a waterfall the other day. They had a surveillance camera when he got to the waterfall. And so that was his rebellious act of intuition. He said, fuck it. He went and he mooned the camera. Now, he didn't destroy public property. He didn't create a nuisance for the governmental, but he gave them a little show. He gave them a starfish show. He exposed the another orifice in his beingness that had not been brought to light in some time. Decided to get some vitamin D on his asshole that day. And I'm sure the people back at corporate loved it, you know, because they can zoom in on that shit, and that's primo content for them. That's the whole point of putting the flock camera up. It's the, fraction of a fraction, but every once in a while someone's going to starfish you. Make this all make sense. It's now worth it, you know? You know what I'm saying. Test. Divine Spark says my mic is muffled. Well, that's shitty. Test. Is it still muffled? It should be great. OTW News. Never mind, it's better. How did it get better? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to make it better. Just miraculously is better. Test. How could it be better? It can't possibly be better. Test. You like having my dog. See, there you go. Because my dog will distract me and is a gluttonous, insecure hound that incessantly seeks attention, which says more about that dog than me, by the way. And you want to have that insecure mutt come up here and bark charades at you instead of hearing rising dick come out of the ashes. Damn, Divine Spark. Now, I see you added a 7 to your 313. 7 is the God particle, so you're rising up, wising up with the Most High. That was when I started the stream. My 6-year-old great-nephew just told me to trust the process because he and my 11-year-old nephew were using power tools and box cutters, and I was getting a little worried. Divine wisdom in the youth. We got US Ape in the house. Consistent with his Oriental Chinese takeout and chopsticks, which is concerning, US Ape. As much as you claim to be a health advocate, I'm thinking that all the monosudoglutamate that you're ingesting with your Chinese takeout is probably having a cause and effect aspect to your dysfunction, which is why you then put a box. Is that a box? Is that what you did? Did you just say we're all stuck in the black box here? No, I like Rick. I know I timed him out the other day, and he shows he's a man of his own constitution and not worried about my validation, and came back to potentially be abused again. And I respect him for that. Good job, Rick. Now we can abuse each other with our words, and we're both victims of our own virtual attacks on here. Let the process continue. Now my dog's whining. Would you guys think less of me if I beat my dog on here while it whined? Would that be a feather in my cap as some kind of super elite online YouTube guru? Or would you say that's would that be a credibility problem? I don't know. I feel like most YouTube gurus beat their dogs. It's kind of prerequisite. You know, like, don't you think, like, I'm sure Muji beats his dog. You know, if you were to look at the Dalai Lama and the way he, like, puts up that fake front of being super calm and chill, and he's like, he doesn't have a wife because he's celibate incel type of material, and he's got to beat something. So he gets himself, like, a little chihuahua or something. No, I wouldn't do it. I will put my dog outside, though, the next time. Or my dogs. My one dog doesn't bother me. My Lou's getting so old. She's just... I'm telling you, the shit they do to these dogs. It's like... They torture these dogs. Don't ever give them any bag dog food. I don't care if it's the all meat, non-grain kind, whatever. Shit fucks your dogs up. And I did that to my Lou, which is my fault, and I think she got tumors as a result. I used to feed her the bagged meat-based food, and I'm sure that was all just terrible, terrible food. Who God knows what was actually in it. But anyway, she's old and not as functional as she used to be. But my little clodhopper, he's a spry young mutt, and he's not getting enough attention here at this moment, apparently. No. I would never do that. So what are you doing today, OTW? Are you par for the course? Pretty, raring and ready to not do anything today? We got any plans? Doing a live stream of sorts? Maybe not a drama stream, but because that last one was kind of drama. I had fun, but like I'm hoping the next stream we're gonna get down to business. We're gonna have some real discussions, get rid of the distractions, cut through all the mustard, get down and dirty, get our hands dirty, you know? Because I don't know if I got time for all these shenanigans now. Like, everybody wants to, are you not entertained? I'm not your little fucking clown puppet. Like, sometimes I feel like being a little bit animated, but I'm not going to do that in a manufactured way just to try to please people's idea of what I should be. You know, I'm not feeling that way today. I'm feeling like, let's have some real talk. Let's fucking do the hard work today. That's my intuition. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's plunge into the bush. Well, your dog's concerned about you. They see you talking to a black box. Your dog has discernment. Your dog actually has intuition and loves you and sees the insanity of what you're doing, and it's concerned. It's like, my master has lost his noodle. He's now fully immersed into staring into a black magic box and communicating when I'm a real being sitting right here. And that my master could be patting me and loving me and scratching my ears, and I'd be kissing my master and licking his neck and trying to give him more parasites to make his life more miserable, and he doesn't want that anymore. The dog's concerned. you know, Diago. The dogs know. The dogs see the problem. Yeah, but that was what was top of my mind today. I guess I don't need to even say anymore. It's just, if you're dealing with difficulty, stop focusing on the difficulty. Focus on how you can be the most present, available aspect of yourself that can do a good work. And that's really, where it is. Maybe for you it's refining your craft. It's getting more honed in on that skill. It's getting more connected to the co-creative spirit, to your art, your music, or whatever it is that really motivates you and brings a sense of purpose into your life and what you're doing. And so instead of focusing on this dysfunction, which is just creating more of it, and I know it's a simple truth, but it's just, we're creatures of habit, and it's so easy to get stuck in these cycles where we're not even claiming a victim status, but we're acting like one because we just keep going back to the well of our own despair, and we're not creating new habits. We're not getting up and taking that run. We're not getting up and eating an amazing, high energetic meal of sorts to start the day right. You're not looking at how you're going to partition your time throughout the day in a way that's productive. And it's like, I got this buddy, he's always late for everything, right? And he's claimed that in his IM. So I'm not shotting him down for that. It's like, that's who he is. That's what he wants to be. And he knows that. He knows he could be on time for everything if he wanted to. But he wants to be in a place of being available for whatever is, and he's not money motivated. He's not motivated by validation for sure, because you can see how society's rejected him. He's not motivated by sparkly trinkets. He is someone that stands for truth in the sense that he's absolved himself of the hierarchical system that creates the straw man and the corporate identity and all that. He's made his public statement. He participates at a very minimalistic level. And then this odd kind of thing where society, we all expect people to have some kind of expedient, efficient aspect to how they do things. And he's even thrown that out to the window. He's like, I don't see deer and wolves and on some kind of watch or clock. They're on God's time. They're on intuitive time. They know if it's time to move about, they all somehow synchronize up and move. And the animals know when the fire's coming, or they know when the famine exists, or there's a need to go source food otherwise because the water hasn't come in. They can have all these internal senses, but they're not on a schedule per se. So which one's closer to nature? Like, do you see anything in nature stuck to a clock or a watch with an alarm? Beep, 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 get up. It's like, the reason you need that alarm clock is because you suck and your life sucks and you don't want to get up. I don't need an alarm clock to be up at 4:30 a.m. every morning. I wired myself that way, and it has nothing to do with obligation or having to be there or having to show up, or because some asshole says if I don't, I'm going to be written up or have a whatever. But then you got these people that have all these obligations, all these things they've committed to. They don't want to do it. They have to have technology poking and get up, go, blah. You hate your life, but you're not willing to change it. You have to have things you hate triggering you to do things you don't want to do. And so this person is very inspiring to me because I didn't start thinking that way till the last 6 months or so, just watching how bro goes about his business and how he's always seems to be available in the right place at the right time. And yeah, he's super late for a lot of things, but everybody understands, like, whatever fucking Tom is doing, he is doing a great work. And you can wait.
At least the real ones do, you know. And it's like, and I love that about the dude. And I think more like that's the way my life is going. I don't need to be on the expectation of any corporations. I don't need to show up for anybody's idea of where I have to be at whatever fucking thing they think I need to attend. I'm not there. Scarcity makes the heart grow fonder, you know. I'd rather not be there. Maybe you missing out on me, missing some dick for a while, is going to make you understand the value of dick, ladies. You know. Yeah. Like, I get up, at least I'm up at the latest 6 a.m. on a bad day. You know, maybe there's some days maybe I'll get up at 7 or something. It's like I have a headache or something, but it's very few and far between anymore. And I'm not trying to say that to boast. Look at me up. It's just that's the natural wiring, and I don't have to be up at that time. I want to be, or I don't even want to be. It's just, yeah, I do want to. Actually, I do want to. I take that back. I want to get up and start my day. I mean, I want to sleep too. I love sleep. This simple stuff. This sounds retarded, but I like sleep. I like to be awake. Yeah, I love my life. I like the sleep part and the awake part. Go figure. Despite all the fucking bullshit going on. And I'm sure Rick's the same way at a certain level, but, you know, it's not always that way. Let's be honest. Like, you want to get up and start your day because you know there's an awesomeness aspect to it. But you know you're also going to have to take that run. Just like I did this morning, you know, and it's like, and that part of that run, the first 20% of it, you're like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to fucking run straight up the hill. There's nothing stopping me today. At least I do, because my runs are more sprints of sort. Like I'm basically running a mile. I know some dudes, like this guy Micah I hang with, he runs 5 miles a day with his dog. And it blows my mind. I mean, he's in fucking amazing shape. But he's running flat in little rolling hills. I'm running a mile straight up a hill. And I'll tell you what, the first 20% of it, you're zealous. It's like, nothing's going to stop me this day. Although there are some days I run up the hill where I do feel unstoppable, all the way to the top, and then I keep going. And I will run 2.5 miles, 3 miles, whatever. I had one of those days about a week and a half ago where I caught the runner's high, and I was an unstoppable force. And I could have just ran and ran and ran and ran forever. But most days, I want to get up, I want to do the discipline, not because it's going to be super fun or super enjoyable mid-path. Although, even with the misery of the 50% part of the run where you're just going, fuck, man, what? God damn it. I still have appreciation now where I'm moving about God's creation. I'm feeling the breath, the prana. Wait. I'm feeling the prana. I am the breath. I am the moment. I am the experience. I am the observer. I'm taking it all in. I'm in full appreciation, but I'm also fucking miserable because it's hard work, and you know, the body is telling me something else than what the brain is. The body's saying this, you know, you don't have to do this, brother. You don't have to run. You can stop now. But the other part of me says, no, I'm not stopping, because I know the result of this discipline far outweighs any pissant, whiny part of myself that wants to convince myself I don't need to do this discipline. No, I do need to do this discipline. I do want this discipline. I want the result of feeling the discomfort. I want to step into the fire. I want to do the hard thing. I don't want to do the easy thing to get the easy, lukewarm result. And then you let that extend out into every aspect of your life, everything you do. And you start your day that way, and then everything else, you say the hard thing because you already did the run. The motherfucker who won't respect your boundaries, you that's the day you cut him off. Because that's the way you operate. And you show that through your actions, through your disciplines, and people start to understand who the fuck you are finally. Because you have self-awareness. You understand who you are. And you're no longer just tolerating and dealing with anything. Because you're not doing it for yourself either. You're not taking the easy path with yourself. You're not going to allow that to be the foundation of how you operate with others. And if that's what they need, then it's time for them to head on down the path and find a new comrade or whatever. If that makes any sense, you know? What are you saying there? Godheart Guardian says, people become intoxicated with problems. It gives them an excuse to not do what they need to. Solution-oriented awareness. Yeah, Rick, you're correct. When your stomach is always full, your heart, mind, and soul are empty. You got to give yourself a break and learn to detach from things that you don't necessarily need, but are wanting for maybe the wrong reasons, because you're just looking for temporary comfort, right? Temporal comfort. That's what that big, fattening, satiating meal, and you're in a moment of depression and you run down to the Chinese takeout like Rick does, where he like presents to us he's this super healthy vegan runner, but he's actually running down to the Chinese takeout again. He's all miserable. Oh, God, my life sucks. And he just fucking crams his pie hole full of monosudoglutamate. And for like 15 minutes after that meal, he goes, yeah, I feel all right. That's what Rick's doing. That's what he's doing. That's what he's trying to tell us. But you don't need that fattening monosudoglutamate meal. You probably need to go run. You probably need to get out with your dog in nature and move about the creation and experience that simple divine truth that you can choose a different path. And it may be oversimplified to the one who's looking for complex solutions, but for the true seeker, there's a great authenticity in simplifying and doing the better thing, which may be the more difficult thing, which may be the more uncomfortable thing, but it's the right thing. And you know in your discernment it's the right thing, even if it's not a perfect process, because you don't have you're still seeing with blurred lines, you're still seeing with a smoked glass, and you don't have a complete picture in your mind's eye of what the true purpose of your intent, but you know there's a subtle nudging underneath all this that's saying, no, brother, go this direction. Stop this creature of habit toxicity you've created for yourself. Do something different today. Make a small stand. Make a little step for yourself. And just see if that can't be the catalyst that starts that chain reaction in your own experience to where all of a sudden you start becoming more and more self-empowered every day. Because that's really what you're looking for, is autonomy. You're not looking for another government to solve your problems. You're not looking for more of the dysfunction that you've already accepted and were programmed into. But all that programming and dysfunction created the comfortable lie. It created the ability to have an apathetic nature to yourself and just be relying on what were presented as solutions, but was actually destroying you, right? It sounds like a solution to say, oh, we'll have this store down to the street where they're going to have all the food packaged up for you, and you just work your slave job and you get your... It's a dysfunctional system. You know, if you're not digging deeper and trying to figure out how could I source a better food, if you're not going to the farmers markets trying to find who actually produces food and seeing if you can access some or do some of it yourself, then what you are eating is shit anyway. So yeah, you'd be better to forego the meal. Don't do the Chinese takeout. I mean, are you going to probably go buy a imported coconut or banana that is still a part of the problem, but it's, you know, it's one step at least to try to make some positive change within your choices. And it's going to wake you up. It's going to create awareness, and it's going to continue to spiral for you. And this is the thing. You're either spiraling up or you're spiraling down. You're either depleting the glass of your own co-creative spirit, or you're being faithful to it, and more is starting to flow out of that. And you're continually seeing in your life how everything you need will be provided if you can just trust, if you can just walk in faith. And that's been my experience for the last 15 years. I started that about 15 years ago. And it's one of the best things I ever did. And if objectively, if someone was looking at my life from an outward, they'd say, boy, that's where you really started to lose it, Dick, because you know, you lost your slave job, you lost your slave identity, you lost your guarantees, any of your status, you know, what would have been the trophies are considered acceptable by the world. But I had all that. That wasn't a worthwhile pursuit. No, it was the path less traveled. It was going with the intuition. And it all worked out for me. Not according to others, but for me, it all worked out perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing. That's just my own testimony. Is it going to work out for someone else that way? Is someone else going to have that experience? I hear people claim to me that they step into this discomfort and then they don't get a similar result. I don't know. Maybe God has something different for you. But that's always been how this works for me. Step into the uncomfortable thing. Do what you know is the next right thing. And watch how reality becomes orchestrated for your benefit. Watch how everything that you actually need becomes attracted in. And you can start trusting that process in a way where you just no longer need anyone else to tell you if it's right or true. You just already know with you and God, you're good to go. Now, do you want that kind of walk, or do you want the kind of walk where you constantly have to depend on the pastor's validation? You have to depend on some dysfunctional friend or relationship or whatever it is to be your source? And how does that work out for you? People are afraid to walk alone, you know. They don't want to just acknowledge that through their own experience, delegating what the Most High gave them was probably one of the dumbest things they ever did, because it wasn't meant to be delegated. The Most High didn't give you your light so you could say, here, you take this percentage government, you take this percentage pastor, you take this, and now you got all these other people directing your light on your behalf while you turn into an apathetic, stagnant slug that produces nothing. So they're siphoning off of your energy, taking it all to transmutate it, reproject it back to you with this corrupt, perverted society. And they're building your asylum for you with your energy that you're giving. And then everything that's reflected back, you say, I don't like that. Yeah, but you gave your power away to build that. So did your father, by the way, and your father's fathers. You know, it's a generational curse. Yeah, you were born into it. You can say, well, you made me a victim. I didn't consent to any of this. Yeah, but your fathers did. Your elders did. And you're connected to them. So, at a certain level, do you love your elders enough to do the good work that they couldn't? For you and them? Are you responsible enough to embark upon that? To deal with the discomfort that they weren't able to or willing to, but they had to they had to go through it anyway, even with the negative result. They still had to feel the pain. So you're not going to get out of it without feeling the pain. So would you rather do it for the right purpose, or would you rather feel the pain because you chose despair and self-lack and a victim mindset? Because you're not going to be able to avoid the pain in this experience. That's what comes with this. That's why it's available, is it's necessary. It's there to teach you something. You're going to be destroyed one way or another. You don't get to take anything with you in a material or an identity kind of concept if it's worldly rooted and worldly oriented. This is not even a real realm. It's just a presentation for your own self-growth, your own spiritual growth. That's all it is. Nothing's even fucking real here. And I know to some people that sounds insane, but they just haven't done any work. They haven't looked at it for themselves. I'm not saying because physics says that, which if you're a carnal mind-oriented type of individual that needs intellectual tokens to get you to see that, it's all there, but you're never going to be able to corroborate unless you see that in yourself. Is my audio still muffled? Now it's sounding muffled to me. Damn it. My big deal is getting my energy back. My big deal is because so you feel depleted all the time, right? You tell me you feel like, because you would only say that if your sense of now is you don't have enough and someone stole what you did have that would have been enough if you otherwise hadn't let that be taken from you. So now you need to take that back. Is that truth, though? Is that real? Look at that for a minute. Let's look at that. Excuse me. Let me get some water for my tea. I want to look at that, though. I think that's an interesting perspective. I'm going to freshen up my tea here. Just give me a second. Well, first off, Divine, my kids are not my kids, right? My kids are not my kids. They are their own, they're young adults now, which is an amazing thing to see. And I'm blown away at just how they're tied into their purpose and how I don't want to get too into it all because it's their life to live, but I'm very impressed. I really am. And I'm not really here to talk about them, but I will just say that my son, with what he does, he is the best. He's number one. And I would like to say I had a little hand in that, but what he puts his hand to, he's the best. Period. The end. And my daughter is doing unbelievable things. She's an amazing entrepreneur. She's an amazing human. She's just got, a glow about her, and she's daddy's girl, and I'll just always love her and appreciate everything about her because she's the apple of my eye in that sense. But they're not my kids, right? That was stewardship, to give them a space to step into what their purpose was, and I think I accomplished that. I think we accomplished that as their parents, and that was the goal. And so I'm super satisfied with that, and it's cool to see them now be rooted and do their own thing. And a lot of people told me that as a parent, that one of the hardest things is to see your kids separate from you and go do their own thing. That's not my experience at all. I'm super stoked to see my kids have an identity, have a purpose, and go out and pursue life with passion. My biggest fear with my kids was that they would be apathetic and not have, that they would be like all these slaves I see out here and not want to do anything with this gift that life is. But that didn't happen to them because I didn't put them in the indoctrination camp. So they never went to traditional academia. They weren't indoctrinated. They weren't stuck into the propaganda control matrix. So they always had the ability to dream, and now they're just pursuing their dreams. And I'm not going to say specifically what those things are because it's their business, but they have their passions and their excitement, and they're pursuing it with fervor, and I couldn't be happier, That was the point. And I just think that people get too worried about, if I don't follow the slave indoctrination, you'll like put your kids behind or something. And to me, it was exact opposite. They're always going to be a step ahead. They're always going to be more prepared because it's not necessarily about what you did. It's what you didn't do, because they're naturally designed to dream and to work with the creation. So as long as you don't stifle that and take that out of that youthful spirit, that arrow that you're supposed to point correctly, it becomes a spaceship. It's no longer an arrow. It transmutates into its own ability to chart a course and go. So I think the arrow becomes a bad analogy because you're not shooting an arrow with that child into a direction. You're sending a bird off that's learning to fly, and eventually it's just going to fly. And if you're insecure about that, then that controlling type of nature will prevent you from being a good parent. You want your children to fly and go, and if you have this insecurity where you need them to be there in a certain way for your identity to be okay, that's just showing you your own self-lack. So I think often, because that was told to me through the whole process of raising my children, is that these kids, it's this terrible thing. They're going to go out and want to do their own thing. No, that's what you want for your children. You want your Johnny in the basement at 22 siphoning off you, still trying to figure out what the fuck he's going to do with this reality. No. My son, anyway, I don't want to make this all about them. I'm done, but that's the update I'll give you there. It's going great. You tell me, says he ran his daughter off. Yeah, you may have, because you may not have created space for them to fuck up and be who they are and understand that you weren't there to control. You were there to give that fatherly wisdom, and that your kids are going to experiment. They are going to try things. They're going to make mistakes. So you might have, but at the same time, if you know where you fucked up, then change your course moving forward the best you can. You're not here to drive the the narrative on all their decision making. You wanted to create accountable beings that had their own autonomy and were able to take responsibility for that autonomy. You didn't want to. And too many parents, I think they use leverage of finances and all this to tell their kids what they have to do, where they have to go, how they have to live their life. Fuck all that. You'd be better to give them nothing and just say, I support you in your decisions. How can I help? You know, from a not necessarily monetary, but just supportive father and who they want to be. Maybe it's just a shoulder to cry on or an ear to bend. And I think that's hard for a lot of parents because they see their kids fuck up. And then they bring that kind of condemning anger. And I worked through that shit a long time ago. So I don't hold that space for my children anymore. I have genuine, unconditional love. And they know that. Like, that's what you get from Dad. But that doesn't mean that doesn't come with my boundaries or my expectations or what I'm going to do in my own path. It just means that I'm not going to be a harsh critic to you and your process when I know how much shit I had to go through to learn what I had to learn. So, like, why am I going to exempt someone else from their process? Everybody's got to go through what they got to go through. But this concept of these are my children ends up being self-defeatist. Because if you know the true nature of a soul, if you've done the inner work, and I'm not saying you were doing this, Divine, it's just something we say, right, out of a habit. I'm sure you understand the reflection that I'm presenting. But it does become a stumbling block because we start to look at it like property, and that's the way the corporate state presents it to you, is that this is a liability or a exemption of sorts because the accountability and the responsibility of that beingness is such that there's like an ownership narrative, and there is no ownership. And the soul that's unfolding is just as unique, autonomous, independent, dependent on what's within, connected to source, and has this life purpose just as significant as yours. So you have to respect that. The same way you respect yourself, you have to respect what you see in your progeny, your offspring. If you want them to respect that in this, how can they see it in themselves if their own father doesn't see it in them and doesn't see it in himself? You know, and that was the Christed message, right? It's like, I am not your master unless you need a master. Only up until the point that we could just be friends and you can go about your business. Because you no longer need this dude to help you out of this enslavement mindset. Well, if you never put that on the children in the first place, they would never, that's not their natural function anyway. So the less they got of that, I think the less you're going to have to handhold them for that kind of bullshit. Whatever that means. Well, and pets, dogs have intuition greater than a lot of humans. I mean, I remember Luna last night wanted to go out, and I was telling her she had to stay in because I didn't want to deal with something, and I thought there was a bear out there or something. They were getting all riled up, and she just bulldozed me over and went out. Because she knew she had the right to travel. She knew she had the right to go outside and see what the fuck was going on. So she did. My D22 love. Yeah, Capricorn, I get it. So back to you tell me, you said, there was something you said there that I wanted to investigate. I'm trying to find the comment now. My big deal is getting my energy back. All right, I got to put new leaf in here though. I can't drink this old leaf. Okay, I got a message for you, you tell me. I got something for you on this. Man. So if you want your energy back, you are feeling deflated, right? You don't have enough to bring to the moment to accomplish what you want to accomplish. You don't have enough juice to face this difficulty, face this life in a way where you have a sense of empowerment. You're looking for more in that process, and you think, well, I gave a part of me away, and if I had that back, I would now have the juice to just hunker down, put my head in, and pound through this. Am I right in that, or am I wrong? Let's start there. That's how you're experiencing this, is that what you have in this moment is not sufficient, but there's a intuitive nature to you that knows I do actually have enough. I gave it away. So it's being siphoned off. Something else is using it on my behalf. So for that, I don't have enough now. Now, were you an altruistic, philanthropic soul that gave your energy away? Or were you the wicked, slothful servant that the Christed being talked about when he said you buried your talons in the ground, you didn't honor what I gave you? Were you duped? Like, how did you give this? And who has your energy that you need to take back? And I've looked at things that way. I think it's actually a flawed way of thinking. As if an overflowing cup doesn't have enough energy to give everything it wants to give energy to, and have plenty left over to accomplish everything that it needs to accomplish. I think when we feel energy depleted, this is my experience, this is my testimony. Is it going to be real for everybody else? I have no idea. I have enough energy to give to whatever I want to give it to, and my cup is still overflowing. I have an endless supply of energy as long as I'm giving it to the right things. There's never not enough. When I don't have enough energy, in my experience, it's because I'm not stepping into truth. So what I'm doing doesn't warrant the energy that the Most High would provide freely anyway had I been rooted in purpose and truth. So if I'm not saying what I need to say, which has happened plenty in my life, if I'm not doing what I need to do, which has happened plenty in my life, if I'm not showing up in an authentic way, if I'm presenting a false version of self for validation, if I'm just lying to kick it, right? It's like, you ain't got to lie to kick it, bro. Why you got to fucking front? Why you got to act like something you're not to win this approval? That's what's going to drain my energy, is being a fake version of self and not doing or saying what I need to say. Because, there's been plenty of times where I'm too concerned about what somebody's going to think or how it's going to be perceived or what. And that's what is going to suck me dry, is just not being my authentic self. If I show up my authentic self, there's never a lack of energy. It's all there. So for whatever that means to you, brother, however that could help you in that, it may not be that you need to take anything back that you gave, because you may have gave it for the right reasons. But you may not be being authentic with yourself in certain areas, and you need to inspect that and see, what's the thing I'm not doing that I do actually have the energy for, but I'm just being a coward bitch? It just is. It is what it is, right? There's just a thing that I don't want to step into because I'm afraid, or I'm insecure, or I'm worried, or I just feel like, maybe the outcome won't be what I want it to be, and then it'll destroy me or something. But what is the result of not doing it? You get destroyed. You get cut off from source. You don't have the energy now. Everything's overwhelming. It's all just collapsing in on itself because you don't have the goods to do what you need to do. But you do. You're just putting it into these other choices, and so that becomes where the energy siphon. That's how that's happening. So maybe it is a taking back, but how do you take it back? Be the true authentic self in every moment, as much as you're able to step into that. Because again, the discernment may not be completely clear, but there's a subtle nudging. There's an intuition there. There's a place where if you do the self-inspection, you start to realize with the real eyes, man, I'm avoiding something that's super important. And God's had this on my heart for a while, and I just don't want to do that hard thing. So do the hard thing and watch the energy show up. Watch the energy no longer be an issue. Despite the disease, despite the dysfunction, whatever. Just watch how now you're high on your own supply, and it's not about, I got to take this back from this person, I got to do this over here. It's about who you are and what you stand for, and how you're going to step into this knowingness. Because that's when, if I don't do that, that's when I'm a slug, and I get up and I'm just, and I don't want to, and because I know I'm just going to do a bunch of shit that's not purposeful. It's not filling in the full sense that fully filling what's, words. Yeah, exactly, OTW, because we're insecure bitches at a certain level. And then we want to play victim and be like, somebody stole my energy. No, you gave it away. You weren't a steward of it, and God said if you're faithful with little, you'll be given much. But if you're a coward bitch in that process, I'll take it away. I'll take your blessing away. I'll remove it from you. And I'll leave you in the despair of not being willing to do what you acknowledge in your own self needs to be done. So if you want more juice from the Creator, be honorable to the Creator. Don't stop lying to yourself that you're being forsaken, or you're not being given what you need, or someone's stealing it, and when in fact you are connected to the essence of the all that is, and there is no lack. There's never a sense of need from something that is an outside the finite supply that could never be depleted. You could never deplete God. And if you're connected to God, then you have everything and then some. God, if you're going to go out and do the most high work, that's the spiritual truth that can't be denied, is that you're never going to show up without the ability to do what needs to be done. It's just, are you able? Are you willing? That was the dilemma, right? I don't want this fucking cup. I want this thing to pass. I don't want to drink this shit. But not my will, the Most High will be done, because I'm going to step into what needs to be done. And I know I can do that. It's just I don't want to. I'm an insecure bitch, and I want to be comfortable in my apathy and feel like I can live this life playing it safe, and that then I'm going to find the gem through that. No, that's not how we get the gem. We do the uncomfortable thing consistently with discipline. So maybe for you to start, that's a run. I don't know. Maybe you got to run up that hill like I've had to. Maybe you got to learn to detach from toxic people and walk your own path. And maybe that's how you describe taking your energy back, but it wasn't taking anything back. It was actually doing what, it was rooted in what you knew you needed to do anyway, that a season had passed and it was time to move on. Are you willing to move on, brother, if it's time to move on? Are you willing to throw caution to wind and be whatever it is you need to be and let the chips fall where they may, and let the judges judge and let the condemners condemn and let the naysayers naysay, and let God, and you're connected to that aspect of self, be what it is, and see that through. See if it's true that you won't be left or forsaken, that if you actually step into this part of self that you're avoiding, will the Most High show up? You're not even testing God to see, does God actually provide? Does God actually... Because see, here's the thing, you know, most men are looking for peace in this chaotic world. They want a sense of completeness or something that is an underlying okayness about who they are and what they are. But that's just lack of self-discovery, because if you do the inner work, you realize you are peace. You would never find it in a woman. You would never find it in a job. You would never find it in a false identity. You would never find it in even some idea of being a father or being a... If you're looking for peace outside of yourself, you're looking in the wrong place. So until you're rooted in what you are, which is peace, you don't even have that to offer to your brother or sister, your family, your children, your wife, your whatever you call it. People that depend on you are showing up for something that you should be able to offer as a man, but you can't, because you're still trying to discover it in a perverted way. If you don't know that you're peace, if you haven't claimed that as your identity, I am peace, not because you're lying to yourself, because you literally can't find it anywhere else outside of you. The only reference you have for peace is within you. Then you don't get to marinate in the truth that you are, and you don't have that self-discovery as a launch pad for your own creative spirit that you're stepping into. So the prerequisite is build the house from the foundation, build from the right place. Who are you? You're not a being that needs to discover what you are outside of itself. You already are the thing you're looking for. You will never find it anywhere else. If you haven't found it in yourself, then go through that self-discovery and find your peace and start there. And that peace is not an energy that could be depleted. It's only something that you could choose to not look at or not consider within self. And so if it's observed and it's acknowledged, that now you got something, you know? Now you got something to work with. So why try to build anything if you don't have that foundation first, that you're not left or forsaken? There's nothing that you need. There's nothing missing, broken. Actually, the perspective you're looking for You just needed to sit by the tree in the lotus position for a bit and move up into that crown chakra and that space of bliss where every question's answered. There is nothing missing, broken. It's an endless overflowing cup. That perspective's within self. We're not still enough to sit and find that space within us. And then we want to take shots at those around us or others that are not doing the work and say, well, hey, you're supposed to be my peace. No, they might be able to be a source of that through their own self-discovery, but the Christed being didn't come to give you a fish. He came to teach you how to fish. So the only true love that would come back to you is one that tells you, no, don't now sit here and rely on me as your source of peace, brother or sister. And, is the woman peace? That's a different. I don't think so, actually. The woman is not peace. The feminine, divine feminine is not peace. So a woman that's rooted in her divine feminine, she is not fundamentally peace. And that's okay. Those dynamics are supposed to be that way. A lot of women, they don't have any men around them that are rooted in their peace, so they're trying to hold that space and be the divine masculine while simultaneously obfuscating from their role. Because they have no men with peace in their life. The men are insecure bitches that are chaotic and trying to win a bunch of favor and validation from corporate slaves. And modern women are wired to think that's acceptable or that's normal. And they're not safe in that. They don't feel okay with that. So it's bound to discombobulate, spontaneously combust. It's not balanced energy. There's no self-realization there. People are not able to bring a full version of themselves, and then they wonder why everything fails in dysfunction. Masculinity is described as what I would view as the toxic masculinity, this idea that a man is always ready to fight, always ready to be in a rage. He's going to yell, scream, whatever he's got to do to, the masculine's the one who becomes really animated. He's just an insecure bitch. He has no peace. He's trying to, through his brute and his brawn, force every square into a peg hole. But he can't even create the space for others to step into the truth that he knows. Because he's getting out of that peace to try to what? Force someone into peace? That's not how it's going to work. I'm not a indoctrinated Christian, but I go back to that Christed being because it's such a great example. Like, this dude didn't need the validation and wasn't looking for the peace outside of himself. He was the way, the truth, and life. He already had it. You needed what he had. And he wasn't going to capitulate or mince words with you about how you were going to get it. You had to receive from the same source that he received it, from his Father, and it was freely offered to you. They didn't have the courage to take on that mindset. So they had nothing that was appealing in a true sense. Yeah, maybe dude got out of sorts and he had to whip some money exchanges one day because it just got, the burden became too much to bear. But that wasn't his overall constitution. That was like the 1% of the book, right? Yeah, there was a couple times he had a belly full and he said, "Bring them before me and slay them, those that don't know what I offer or who I am." He'd had enough. But 90% of the time, he's cool, calm, chill, and he's very tolerant, and he's patient, and he's letting people work it out because he knows they got to go through their path just like he did. He knew his days in the desert and his formative years that we don't even get told about that brought him to that space where all the character building, spiritual awareness process that everyone else has to pursue and move through to claim that same gem that he found. And on occasion, it just became a little bit more than what he was willing to endure in a peaceful state. So, but I would think if the Christed being could claim a testimony that would be the worst version of myself that the book was talking about, is when I couldn't handle my business with care and consideration anymore. I just had to fucking grab the whip and whip these motherfuckers. Not that it was wrong, because it was right. They deserved it. They had it coming. But it wasn't the proud moment of the Christed being No, the proud moment was he did the hard thing for everyone else, despite the fact that it's not what he objectively wanted to do, but he knew from a greater spiritual significance, all this shit's an illusion. It all too shall pass. It's not sustainable. It's a realm of illusion of solidarity it's not static. It's in constant flux, constant change. So it's all going to shift. It's all going to move. The only thing that's going to matter is the spiritual identity, the realization of self, the true knowledge that surpasses all this. So he made the right choice. And then the question is will you make the right choice for yourself and others? That's really what it comes down to. So if you want the energy, I'll just summarize this. The only reason you don't have the energy is you're not making the right choice somewhere. If you are making the right choice, there's never a lack of energy. That's my testimony in it. And it doesn't mean there's not days I wake up and I don't feel depleted, but that's self-realization. I have to look at how am I investing myself? Because in lion's share, I'm going to wake up full of piss and vinegar at 4:30 a.m. ready to attack whatever I'm going to do with that time, that gift of presence that I have, and let the chips fall where they may. That's what it ends up becoming. And you have to understand, with my journey where I'm at, I'm still absolving myself of any state contracts or corporate identities, any of that. It's just a long unraveling in your own mental consciousness and reversing those habits and claiming the truth of what you are. And so a lot of these terms and labels and shit that we throw on each other, you still use them for the sake of language communication because it's words of babble, but they're not the same signposts anymore. They're not pointing to the same thing that they used to for you. And the person you talk to, it might still be pointing to something other than what you're even talking about. And that's why even the good book talks about there was examples of it where they crossed out God. You don't even say the word because the signpost is not sufficient. Or he's like, why do you call me Father, right? Like, don't call me these terms. You're getting caught and snagged on all these ideas of what you are that are a worldly construct. Can you move past the word to the divine word? The one that was in the beginning from the end, that surpasses space and time, that's not spoken in a word of babble. It's a divine essence, an energetic frequency that you're connected to, that always was and always will be. And it is you. Before Abraham was, I was, right? Because I was before all that. that rooted frequency, that foundation that will sustain all this, that surpasses all this. I am that. And the being that sees that, whether there's courage there or not, now he has the ability to do the right thing because he knows who he is. Does he need that perspective to give himself permission to see that? Where's the chicken or the egg? I would say no. He can walk in faith. He doesn't even have to see it yet. He can just follow his own intuition, and that will be revealed to him in due time anyway. Just do what you know you need to do. The energy will show up, and the rest will be revealed to you. That's my experience. It's not a, it's not something to gloat about. It's just like if someone's looking for direction in that, I've seen so many people try to go get, testosterone therapy. That's what they claim for a guy like me, right? Hey, you're in your 50s. You got low T, bro. You need to go get shot up and become dependent on Big Pharma to give you the energy you need. That's why your energy sucks. So we end up having these sensations of self-lack. And then where do we run to? To Big Pharma, pastor, all these authorities that give you a prescription, give you a solution that creates dependence. You need therapy. You need the rapist to get in your mind and tell you how to think correctly. And why don't you get some testosterone therapy while you're at it? I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, I don't do any of that. And I'm not going to. And my testosterone is increasing right now. I'm having gains. I'm having increased strength. I'm not losing muscle mass. I'm in a state of optimization. I've given my body permission to chemically release balanced testosterone levels. I mean, do you have the faith and the willingness to step into that and claim and to see that happen within your experience? Could that be true? Could it be that simple? Is the placebo that strong that you can say, I took the chill pill and now you're chill? I've popped it in, drank the prana, drank the divine water. Nobody saw anything happen, but the cause and effect was just as real as it was more real than the pill they wanted to give you. I really wasn't planning to go this long. I got to take a whiz now. But I'm just reading through your comments. Leaf Master. Yeah, my dog knows it has a right to travel. Some days I tell myself that it takes energy to give energy, something, so I just go. I'm over it. The 50-cent piece finally fell off the wall sometime last night or this morning, but the penny is still there. I have no idea what you're talking about, brothers and sisters. That's what you tell me got out of this. It's like I have no idea what to do, but maybe the next right thing is to try tea. Well, if you need another vice, highly addictive, fluorochloramine-laden pesticide, Asian concoction of hell, try tea. No, I love tea. I bless the tea. I'm thankful for it. Love, joy, peace. Love, joy, peace. Like, dude, just try that, man. Like, just grab your water and tell it love, joy, peace. Just commit to that one discipline. Drink love, joy, and peace every time you take the water in you. And then start doing it with your breath. Transmutate the breath. The breath that comes into you is love, joy, peace. And just see how that one discipline doesn't change your whole experience. Every moment, every relationship, everything that you embark on, you come from that foundation because you're bringing that into you with a strategic discipline and a commitment, a ritual, a focus. And it becomes an aspect of your beingness that's undeniable because you are the water that you took in. But yet, you're also the observer of the water, and you're the one that told the water what it was. So while you were telling the water what it was and bringing it into you, you were claiming who you were. And then you realize you can just bypass the water. You can start speaking to yourself the same way you're speaking to the water, you know. Because if you can make the water be peace, love, and joy, then why can't you be peace, love, and joy? You know? And you can define what that is. It's really up to you. You know, if you want to stop being someone who doesn't have enough energy, then stop being someone who doesn't have enough energy. Stop claiming that. That's how powerful you are. That's what we're not seeing. We're not seeing that we are our own worst enemy, that we're the one that's making the lack of energy be there. The reason you don't have it is you believe you don't have it, brother. And you don't need the tea. The tea's just a byproduct of an opportunity. I mean, you're not supposed to find your purpose in the truth in the tea leaves. You find yourself in the tea leaves. Brings you back to yourself. That's what the Shufi or the Sufi, the great mystery, the discovery he couldn't share, which was occulted knowledge in the tea, because he became so wise beyond his ego, that others came to him for this knowledge and wisdom that they thought he was finding in the tea leaves. But all he found in the tea leaves was himself. And that was the self-discovery he couldn't even articulate, because they thought he was finding wisdom in leaves. There is no wisdom in the leaf. It's just you at the bottom of the cup, you know? You choose the power of the tea. You program that tea. You're the one that decides what that tea is and what it does to you. Up into the point that some drink the poison of a snake and have a different result than others. It empowers them. It gives them, it becomes energy and adrenaline. I'm not saying go drink poison. I'm just saying start baby steps, start small. You know, if you're claiming I have no energy, well, what if you just got up every day, you tell me? Would you be lying to yourself if you got up and you just said, I have abundant, endless energy to accomplish or overcome whatever I encounter throughout this experience, in this moment, in this day? You tell me, are you lying to yourself, or then do you become that? Because that's what you claimed. What is it? You tell me, did you lie to yourself when you did that for a month? Or is that actually what you were and you just didn't have self-realization that you did have endless energy? And if you just would have claimed it, that's the experience you would have started having. Is so much energy, you're like, I got to get this shit out. I don't even know what. If I don't show up now I fuck myself because the anxiety of all the energy that's pent up in me that I have to offer back, I have to give it because I freely received it through the process of claiming my identity. And now what am I going to do with this overflowing cup? You got to be careful what you ask for. I want an overflowing cup. Great. Now what are you going to do with that? Because now all that's building up in you and you're, you know, that's not a fun space either if you're not a giving spirit. You don't want a bunch of energy if you're not willing to give it. You don't want a bunch of energy so you can just hold it and gluttonous. Oh, this energy's mine. I'm going to keep it. Oh. No, you're an overflowing cup. You're the endless well of inspiration that could never be depleted. Why do you want to keep it? Give more of it away. Give it all away. Let it all go. This person doesn't deserve my love. I don't. You know. You tell me doesn't deserve my love. He's not good enough for my love. No, you tell me he's not in trouble. I'm just, he said he needs to take back his energy, so I was giving him my perspective on what that might look like or how we might delude ourselves in that process. I mean, imagine go knock on the goofy broad's door. Hey, I gave you this energy, this love, because I thought you needed it, but I kind of need it back. So, like, and she's like, I'm not willing to give it back. Nope, you gave it. I'm keeping it. It's my love now. I got no love to give back. You're fucked. Die in your desperation of your self-lack and not having fulfillment and ability because the energy's not there. I took it. I needed it. Now I got it. I'm going to win. You're going to lose. Because often we give energy with stipulation that we think because we gave it, we should get it back, or that it's tied to some expectation. So what we gave, we lied about in the first place. That's why it's becoming a siphon. It's sucking off us. My dog wants my love now. Have I talked to the screen long enough? You want to tell him something else? Tell him. Speak. Now you're on the spot. Yeah, tell him. I had enough. You're not going to take it anymore. The dog's like, well, if he's going to talk to the screen, I'm going to talk to it too. Oh, that's great. That's some funny shit. My dog is pissed off at you, you tell me. Shake yourself out of your slumber. No, you tell him he's not in trouble, though. A lot of people are struggling with that right now. It's just, what's the solution? If you have low energy, what's the worldly solution? Run off the dock. I'm feeling kind of sluggish, and maybe you got some speed for me so I can get this job done just for a little while, bub. I just need to get through this project. Just give me some pills to help me feel like myself again. I'm sure that'll get me through. The doc's like, have you checked your T levels? I'm on testosterone therapy, and my balls have never been smaller, but I sure feel great. I abused my cat last night, and I beat my wife, and I have no self-control anymore, but I feel like such a goddamn man. I'm just going to go down to the bar and drink myself retarded and get in a fight. I don't know. I mean, the roid rage heads, like, would you ever want to be that? You ever see people on steroids, even the therapeutic ones, and they start just becoming loose cannons. They got no self-control. And then it's like, well, I'm going to go the naturopathic route. I'm going to start taking herbs, and I'm going to eat a good diet, clean. But still, you're telling yourself the whole time, my energy levels are low. Yeah, bro, why are you eating like a squirrel? You're eating sticks and shrubs, and, well, my energy levels are low, and I don't have any energy to do anything, so I'm trying to get and well, objectively, you did everything right, but your energy still sucks. You never gave yourself permission. I think that's the missing link. A lot of people just don't give themselves permission to be what they know they should or could be within the moment, because they don't have the courage, or they don't actually have the faith and belief that they have that much. They have that much influence over the process. In that self-discovery of who they are, that if they claim something, they become that. And then if there is an acknowledgement of that, if there isn't, then that becomes the thing to be super considerate of, and what you're careful of what you wish for, right? Like, imagine manifesting some great accomplishment, but you never rooted yourself in peace, love, and joy first. Because people want to make fun of these platitudes of, like, love is the answer and all that. And then they don't claim love, so they don't even get to experience how that could be the answer. They just want to listen to Jack Talcott. Not that Jack Talcott's bad or whatever, but just, and make fun of this idea that they could receive a pure version of love that's already available to them within themselves. So they're just receiving what they are. That's just too flowery and as if you're just negating all. It's your responsibility to be miserable, damn it. Don't you see what's happening in the world? That's the solution, is be anxiety, be frustrated. Just don't you see it's all going to hell in a handbasket, Dick? You should be hating your life like everybody else does right now. No, I just ask myself, is that really necessary? Like, do I have to live that way? I asked myself that well over a decade ago. I just stopped doing that. And it still seems to be some epiphany of self-discovery that people think is too like that's not accountable enough to receive love. Man, I gotta hold on to this hate. I gotta hold on to this contempt. I gotta hate these motherfuckers. I want them all to burn. Line them up in front of me. I want to chop all their heads off. I'm gonna get revenge on all of them. And that's all you are, is you're the jealous, wrathful God of iniquity now. Because that's what you use that free will. And that was still God. They want to say, well, that wasn't God. Yeah, it was. God has the potential to be jealous, wrathful. You have it. You're connected to it. You can choose to be the wrathful, jealous, iniquity generation upon generation, and that's the world you'll live in. And just for the record, I think You Tell Me is doing a great work. I admire You Tell Me's humility. I admire You Tell Me's willingness to show up and to pursue that path of self-discovery, and even through perhaps maybe what I would see as a wrongful conclusion, and maybe he himself sees as a wrongful conclusion. He's willing to press in and inspect what he expects and see, is this truth? And he's willing to consider other perspectives. And he doesn't just capitulate to what I say and just be like, whatever Dick says. No, he's using his own discernment. I don't view You Tell Me as someone who considers every word I say as truth. He sees a reflection of self in what I say, and he's trying to glean those pearls of wisdom through my experience to perhaps help his experience. And that's all that is. And that's all we can do as brothers. When we're seeking someone else's perspective, I'm not showing up asking my brother to be my God or be my pastor, to, so I can come up under his wing and now have him be my authority. I'm just saying, brother, you've experienced some things. Like, what's your perspective on this? I have people like that in my life, and they offer me the same kind of wisdom where it's like, well, this is how it worked for me, dude. Maybe try this. Maybe if you want to be accountable and responsible and have autonomy, you have to step completely in that, which means stop being a victim anywhere. Stop putting it off on someone else. See where you can own the process. That's the best advice I ever got, is how stop talking about what you can affect, and let's focus on the thing that is within your grasp, within your reach. Where are you self-defeating yourself, brother or sister? Can we really look at that and get real about the decision you could make right now and the energy you could play with to transmutate this into something beautiful or worthwhile or purposeful, so it doesn't feel and doesn't have this sense of it's destroying you or taking away or being the thing that's defeating you? Is it within your grasp to see this from the silver lining, from the other perspective? And part of how you see that is through your own experience of life, where you realize all these things that seemingly were destroying you, that were the worst thing that ever happened to you, was like your greatest moment. That's where you really had the refinement. You really figured out what you were made of, and you were able to endure. And then in hindsight 2020, you wouldn't even take it back. You look back at that thing that came to destroy you, that thought it would, believed it could, and was ready to leave you in your own despair and misery, and then you rose out of those ashes, Grand Rising Dick. You came out solid and hard as a rock. And you turn those thoughts into actions. Empowerment, you know? You tell me he's the man. He's better than all of you. According to my righteous judgment. You tell me he's our new leader. What do we do next, you tell me? We're fucked. Help us. Help us, you tell me. I just gave you my energy, and now I don't have enough. Fuck, you tell me. I need it back. God damn it. You tell me he's our leader. I was a leader because I had the energy, but I gave it to him, and now my cup's half full. And unless you tell me fills it back up, I'm just going to drink myself. No, I don't want to say that to my water, actually. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. You know? He's like, I knew I could deplete you. I tricked you out of position. I tricked you out of your energy. Now you gave it to me. And now you're the glass half full, Dick. And I got it. I'm on top. I got it back from Dick. Yeah, man. It's like you tell yourself, my testosterone levels are optimum. And you wake up and your dick hangs longer and your fucking grand risings are super astute and on point. And your balls are more productive, everything. And you just... You know, it's a little personal, but is it possible that your balls are shrinking and because you're not using them? Use it or lose it. And I don't mean in the sense of like you're out fucking a bunch of goofy broads for the purpose of self-satisfaction because you have an empty hole you're trying to replace through being a man whore. I'm saying you're not using your manhood for the purpose that it was intended for, and so you're losing it. Go figure. You know, maybe because everybody says the men are losing their testosterone because the microplastics, and we always say it's an environmental factor. Well, yeah, there's a cause and effect there, sure. But is that the ultimate influencer? Is that or is that just the victim thing that we're using as an excuse? Is there more empowerment in that? And perhaps are we not losing our manhood because we're not being men anymore? Maybe that we lose the ability to reproduce when we stop being something worthy of reproducing. Could that be more rooted in truth than we're just in a system that's destroying us? Is our personal choice having a significant effect? And then now, which one's more? Am I becoming an effeminate, worthless man who can't reproduce because there was microplastics in my food, or because I chose to be a bitch and not stand for anything or do anything or say what needs to be said in the moment because I was insecure about how people would judge me and how that would affect my relationships or the identity that people vicariously have through me as if my decision warrants how they feel about themselves. And like I would even want relationships predicated on that, and that it wouldn't be a better thing for me to just absolve myself of all that, just to fuck hell with that. Think whatever the fuck you want. I'm no longer subject to your fraudulent contract. If you want to fucking blame me for your misery because I didn't live the way you thought I should. Go fuck yourself. And rightfully so. Because I only fuck the best. That's why I fuck myself. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't know what kind of verbal judo that was. I was trying to beat you with with a bamboo shoot, you tell me. It didn't work. You stole my eggplant, you tell me. You fucking bastard. Give me my eggplant back. There's only one of us that can be a man around here. If I give you we only got one eggplant left on the planet. Only one of us can be a man. Who are we going to give it to? Fuck it. You can have it, you tell me. You be the man. Lead us out of this mess. We need a hero. We need Superman to save us. Now, Superman will come and all the women will look at him and, he's so attractive. Everybody wants to fuck Superman, right? All the women. They're ready to leave their man in the dust. Fuck this guy, this loser. I want Clark Kent to show me that fucking rip his shirt open and then fuck me with his Superman rod. Bring me to the most orgasmic completion ever. One man can repopulate the realm because he's got the divine Superman seed. We delegate him to be the true man that we can't be. Let's all give him our energy together, you tell me. We'll choose a man. We all have like a fractaled little teeny insignificant scope of and if we all give our manhood to one, then maybe he can rise up and be the savior. That's the Christed complex. That's the Superman thing. And then the women see all the men are just willing to vote and give them, maybe Trumpy Daddy can be my hero and solve it all. That's your fucking solution as a man? You're going to vote for another man that's corrupt, that's the worst among us to like solve our problems, and you want me to have faith in you as a woman that you're a man that could actually lead me anywhere? You're going to vote for some asshole? This is what women have to contend with. They're looking around going, okay, there is no men. There is no men. They're all voting for some man who's not a man to be a man. Aye. Yeah, glass storage is the best. Maybe, but I think we're giving too much credit to the plastic. It's just a meat suit at the end of the day. What do you choose with your consciousness? Is the spiritual aspect of self the tail wagging the dog, or is that the dog, or is that the God? You know, which one is the real thing? The microplastic illusion of solidarity self that's an imbalanced chemical equation within a realm that's not even real? It's a projection of self that even the physics show you it's coming from your own perspective. At a certain level, it's not just a double slit, it's everything. Man, I need a double slit right now. I'll be back. Anyway, I did a gig the other night, and the damn feed cut out. But I will do another one this week, and it'll be a different place. I think it'll be even a better venue for you guys to see me do that song. I'm going to do that U.S. Slave song, and that venue that wasn't it doesn't go over well, right? Because people couldn't hear the words. The place I do it this week is going to be phenomenal because it's going to be a little coffee shop that's like a Christian community where everybody's super tight asses and, you know, they think if you say anything offensive, like you're against God or something, and very judgmental. So I think when I get up there and sing it, it'll be like a pin dropping. And I'm curious to see, because I'm going to live stream this. So be ready if you want to see it. I'm going to do it. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, I performed this song on a stream here, shirtless with a cowboy hat, which I'm surprised nobody clipped it. I left it up so someone could just clip that part because I don't have the time or the energy, because I don't give myself permission to sit and fuck with technology all day because that's not my talent or what I want to do. I don't want to sit there and edit and do. Someone else can do that if they ever wanted to. But that I'm going to take that performance of the U.S. Slave, which is not my song. That's Paul wrote that song. And I'm going to write my own, these parodies on these absurd songs, because the music is frequency. So we can take that and transmutate it. It's a powerful thing. It's a great way to have a voice in a time where so many feel voiceless or disempowered. At least I see the opportunity. Anyway, I'm going to go to this coffee shop. I'm going to sing this to these people, and I'm curious, will I be... You can go back and look at it. There's a... I guess I could find the link for the stream if you didn't see it. That's the problem with these. You assume everybody sees, but they don't, of course, and that's a stupid assumption because probably like 5% sees 1% of what you're doing, so nobody has any idea what you're talking about. But regardless, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to do it. I'm going to go into a coffee shop. I'm going to sing this song to a bunch of straight edge tight asses. And they're either going to stop me in the middle of my set, be like, we can't have that around here. They're going to escort me out. In which case, I'm going to be like, what? So I can come in here and sing some slave patriotic song that just is complete nonsense that anybody looks at as just propaganda. But I can't sing the counter to that has a few little strains of truth in it to kind of make a mockery and a joke of the bullshit that's been projected at us. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I really have no idea. I'm curious to see, will it go over like a lead balloon? Will people even hear my words? Because, a lot of times people don't even hear the words. They just hear a song. They'll assume I'm singing some like patriotic, I love my corporate slave status song. And they don't even hear it. I don't know. But in this venue, it will be no distractions, right? There's not going to be a drum set. There's not going to be a bass player. It's just going to be me, my guitar, sitting in a chair, singing through a mic. So there'll be a lot of clarity in the words, a big group of people, and I'm just going to get up there and fucking sing it and let the chips fall where they may. And I have no attachment to the outcome. I have no idea if people will clap, if they'll yell at me, if they'll get in, if the owner's going to come behind the, bar and come out from under and like grab me by my ear, grab me by, tear me out of the place. Dude. Oh, you're pissing me off, you tell me. You're fucking pissing me off. If you want to find people to jam with, that's why you have no energy. Because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go collaborate with people on music. How are you going to do that? You have to immerse yourself where music is being collaborated. You'd have to go to open mics. You'd have to instead of making a fucking Tinder profile, seek out other musicians. I'm just kidding. You tell me. I love your Tinder profile. I think it's great, actually. You've seen a couple minutes. Oh, it was an awesome gig. It went. We ended up just tearing it up. I mean, I wish I'd have been able to capture it all. It's just my phone died of juice. I had plugged it into the wall, but for whatever reason, it didn't coincidingly charge while it was recording that. In the future, I need to not try to live stream it and maybe just do an actual recording so I get better footage. But I'll get better at that. That's kind of the path forward now. Is I've put all this work for the last 10 years into becoming a better musician, understanding theory, learning how to commute the language of music. So now when I sit down with accomplished musicians who have a large body of work or have these different influences, bluegrass, jazz, rock, fusion kind of shit, that I'm not just driving blind, because I was always playing off intuition, but I didn't really understand the mechanics and the background frequencies and the sacred geometry, as well as the unfolding sequences in music that are all the same as everything else we observe. But the Fibonacci's in the music, right? And now I understand. I can look at a guitar fretboard and I can see the C shape or the D shape or the E shape, and I can see all these shapes, and I can see them all the way up the fretboard. And so now when I'm playing in a key, I'm so much more free with where I can go and understanding of how that shit works, and I can collaborate with these other musicians. So now I've done the work. Now I'm ready, I'm prepared, and now I'm stepping out, and I'm moving into this space at the perfect time. It's the fucking perfect time. It's all come full circle. While these clowns sat here and criticized me 10 years ago, I don't want to see you play guitar. Do something else with your channel. And I said, leave. I'm not going to let you take me off my purpose. I know what the fuck I'm doing. I had people come to me. Nobody likes it. Nobody cares. They don't give a shit what you do. I literally had people tell me that. You need to go back to growing weed, doing this. It's like, you're not going to make me waver. Leave. I have no use for you. Depart from my life, you doer of iniquity. You wicked, slothful, worthless being of criticism. Leave from my life. I don't care if I sit in a room with nobody here while I self-develop and I do the right thing. Because you all will laugh now and then you'll cry later as I step into that truth. And it's all coming full circle. And it's all a personal testimony for me, because all the feedback comes back to me now. Now as I go out and I collaborate with these musicians, they're like, where the fuck have you been? You're the energy we were looking for. You're the fucking, you have something to say. You are showing up with a purpose. You're not just here to like leech off other people's inspiration or just, have other people provide direction to you in your music. No, you're showing up ready, you know how to communicate, you know the music, and you've got a purpose, and you got a drive, and you're full of piss and vinegar to perform something because it has a purpose behind it. And I see the power of music. And so I've done the work, and now I'm getting to reap the fruit of that, which is not a bitter fruit. It's bringing me into these amazing relationships and these amazing experiences, and I'm collaborating with other men in a time where it's hard to find real men of honor and integrity, and I'm finding other men who have the same. Now, this is God, by the way. This isn't me. This is like synchronicity of the Most High, aligning me up with other men who have a similar message, who are doing a similar work, and now we're able to sing a similar song. Like if you listen to the message Tom and I were singing on that last stream, one of the where the fucking stream cut out is just when we were getting cooking, and we were singing the song. We call it. It's his original work. He wrote it. I didn't write it, but I collaborated my work into his work because I had some chord structure that was similar to his, and it created this cool fucking intro where we're like vibing on this kind of minor E thing, and it's got this kind of jazzy thing, and then then we move into this mantra where we both sing simultaneously that we say no. We don't comply. We don't capitulate. We say no. And we're asking everybody else to come together and say no in this. And we're literally singing it out. And it's like, it's starting. I feel it. I see it. It's starting to catch momentum. There's like, it's a divine thing. Like, I don't have to do shit but show up now and just be a part of that. And I didn't even write the song, you know. I'm just like, the dude was there and I'm the right guy to work with him on it. And I've got similar songs he's working with me on, and it's, you know, this is some cool ass shit. So we tell him to fuck off. We say no. And we compel others to say no. Not this Me Too movement no bullshit where it's like, and I'm not saying that's all bullshit. If there's a Harvey Weinstein in your life, by all means, say no, you know. Like, but what do we really need to say no to at this time? Like, women don't need to say no to men. Men don't need to say no to women. They've convinced us, divide and conquer, that the male-female dynamic, we're so divided, like men don't need women. We're supposed to walk our own path alone without any connectedness to the divine feminine or vice versa. Yeah, that's going to work out well for the human species. Yeah. You go, girl. You don't need a man. You all these, we don't need men. Oh, yeah, that's going to work out great. Yeah, wonderful. No. We don't need to say no to male and female interaction or communication. There's a lot of things to say no to. We don't need to say no to what they're telling us to say no to. But we're singing it. I say no, you say no, we all say no right now. That's the lyrics. We're not going to consent. And we're saying no. Enough is enough. We're drawing a hard line. And then if you'd have heard that, we go on throughout the evening to sing more about that. We sing some covers. Like we sing the revival song. You know, you may not align with it. I'm not a big drinker, but I like the theme of the song, Whiskey for My Men, Beer for My Horses, because it's talking about we're in a time where, you know, we got to draw a hard line on these things. So, yeah, anyway. So go out and collaborate with musicians and use your discernment and find the people in your immediate area that have a similar frequency to you and start doing what you say that you know will lead to happiness and joy for you. There's joy and happiness at the end of that rainbow. It's not just some illusory pot of gold that doesn't exist that you just keep chasing. You're actually going to step into that frequency and energy, because that's why you see that attributed to that anyway, is it's your art, it's your music. You're not supposed to give it up. You've given it up for the corporation. You've given it up for the slave status. You say you want to take your energy back. Do what, because you're not really taking your music back, right? It was always there. You just avoided it. You didn't focus on it. You didn't observe it. You didn't give any credit to what was already in you. So you weren't nurturing, you weren't tending that part of your garden, and it was going into a dormant state, and it was stagnant, and it was in a long, deep, dark winter. But then you reshine the light of your own observation onto it by giving it that intention and that consciousness energy, and you are the sun, and you awaken that garden within you, and all of a sudden, all those seeds, it all gets to come up now and flourish, because you finally gave the light back to what the true self, the true identity, what you choose was the important thing. Is the music that important to you? It's obviously not if you're not investing in it that way, and you're choosing that through your own recognizance, through your own action. It's a test of your faith. So is it as important as you're saying that it is? Or do you hate yourself so much you're not willing to give yourself the joy and satisfaction of doing what you were meant to do? And you're going to allow a bunch of naysayers around you to tell you who you are when you already know deep within yourself this is purposeful. And it doesn't matter if you sit in front of a screen for 10 years and just learn and develop this skill. You know inherently there's a season, there's a time. You're in the development stages. You're doing the hard work right now. People are not going to acknowledge during that what that purpose is for. They're going to be the ones to kick you in the balls or give you harsh criticism. Let them go. Let them go. They're not there. They're only going to show up with that validation after you've done everything that you needed to do, and then they're just fake bitches anyway. And you don't, it doesn't mean anything. So, and they're gonna steer you off your path while you're doing what you need to do. You got to let those people go. They don't know you anyway. And the real ones are gonna observe and see that, hey, this guy's got to do something. Even if it's not for me, they may leave for a while. They're going to come back around, check in on you or whatever, but it's like he's doing his thing. I'm not going to try to, he knows intuitively he has to do something. I want to see him do what he needs to do. That's a real friend. That's a real supportive person in your life, is someone that understands what you're doing right now may not outwardly seem to the world as like a purposeful thing. Again, there's a season. Maybe your season right now is not to reap the harvest. Maybe you need to till the soil. Maybe you need to get down with your hands dirty and start working with what you've got in an authentic way to build something finally. And you know that there's not going to be a lot of approvals or validation or people cheerleading you on in that process. Because if you ever get that anyway, you don't want that to be the influencer. You don't want that to be the antagonist. That's not sustainable to make that why you are who you are. You did it because you knew, and you didn't tie yourself to the outcome. You let the chips fall where they may. It's going to be what it's going to be, but I'm going to do it anyway. Then it becomes profound. Then it becomes something significant. Then you allow it to be what it authentically really is. Exactly, bro. Now you're on to something. Exactly. Your time is coming. You're being patient. But are you doing the work? I think you are. Only you know. I don't know for sure, but I think you are. It seems like it to me. Could you do more? You tell me. You tell me, you tell me, you tell me. Beer. Near beer for my men. And lavender tea for my horses. I'm rewriting the song right now. I had a beer the other night. I had one beer. Somebody brought me a second beer. I just had no desire. One beer. I probably drink less than 12 beers a year for the last 10 years, if you averaged out the amount of beers I drink. And in fact, I bet it's much lower than that, because there's plenty of years that have went by in the last 10 years where I probably had one beer. And I don't think there's ever been a year that I've had more than, probably more than I could count on one hand. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 years in there where I had like 10 beers in the whole year. I have not been drunk in over a decade. I've not had hangover, none of that shit. I've not had any kind of maybe the slightest little buzz from drinking like 2 beers or something at some point. And that was way more than I wanted. You know, I don't want that feeling of alcohol. I do enjoy the taste of a beer, but I can get it as much satisfaction from like they have near beer. They have so many good near beers now. You can get a stout near beer. There's this brand called Athletic that has good pale ales, good stouts, IPAs, whatever you're into. And, you know, it's just not fermented in the way where there's strong alcohol levels. Believe it or not, I'm a lot similar with cannabis too. I don't like the dispensary cannabis. I don't like these strains that are so highly sedative. They don't finish off sativas correctly. They don't know how to grow them. They don't have the care or the patience or the love and the intention to grow the plant in a way that produces that super exhilarating, inspiring, motivating, creative type of cannabis that I've always grown. So fuck them in the boat they came in on. I'll be harvesting. I'll have some great cannabis that I'll probably smoke through in a few months. But really, when I'm out of my own supply, I should only get high on my own supply, is what I'm learning. My cannabis is the best cannabis. Anybody who's smoked my cannabis, there's people on here who smoked my cannabis over the years. They're still dreaming about my cannabis because I grow it differently. And with a different purpose. I'm not growing it to get you stoned, man, so you can feel all high and avoid your life and act like reality is, just worthless and all I can do is get stoned all day with my sleepy weed. All the weed now is just sleepy, poorly grown, early harvested, shitty, discombobulated Heinz 57 combo strains that have no landrace or inherent attributes of the original. It's just a mass conglomeration of corporate greed overlaid onto the plant. And go figure, it's a being of intention just like you are. So when so many people hate on it and fucking use it and it ends up producing a bitter fruit, not one you want to consume. It's not, and they knew that because we're going to legalize weed. Yeah, we're going to tarnish it, pollute it, and turn it into something other through the people's collective intention as they seek out something from the plant other than it was designed to give them. Because they're seeking dependence to it. They can't go without their cannabis. They can't have a discussion like this without cannabis. They can't go into the music without the cannabis. They need it. It's not an enhancer. It's not something that they can give or take, go with or go without, because it's a part of their identity. The plant is now something that makes them who they are. Step away from that, brother and sister. Go without it altogether if that's the way you're operating with dependency on the tea, the plant, any of these things. The leaf, you don't find yourself in the leaves. The leaves show you who you are. They reflect back to you what you already knew. If you're finding the wisdom in the leaves, you're still lying to yourself. If you're finding the wisdom in the cannabis, if you can't speak eloquently or have inspiration without it, you probably don't need it. It's probably an addiction. It's probably dysfunctional. It's probably time to step away and discipline yourself. Find the true self. Just go without it. Just go without it. Have the courage to step away and stop leaning on that thing that could otherwise probably be a beneficial relationship with nature, but it's become polluted and toxic and perverted through your own self-lack and your own unchecked gluttony and lack of willingness to see that you're turning something beautiful into something ugly through your own insecurity. And then step away. Or just grow your own if you can. And try to use nature at the highest degree. Look at the biology. Look at the way the most optimum soil in nature is produced and created. And try to work with that in stewardship. Try to get away from synthetic lighting, which just fucks up your eyes anyway, because your eyes aren't meant to look at that, and neither is the plant. If your eyes get floaters and get fucked up through looking at these synthetic lights, what do you think it does to the plant? It's not the real sun. Weed is totally different these days. It's water, you know. What was the intention that went into it? What kind of water was feeding that plant? Did it come from the natural process, or was it some stagnant distilled? Anyway, I could go down that rabbit hole for a while. There's a lot there. All right, I'm done. Cheers, folks. Have a great rest of your afternoon. I might pop back on and play music just because I got some things I'm going to learn on my I got the best acoustic guitar right now. Check this thing out. Honestly, I don't know that you could ever hear how good this acoustic guitar sounds through a live stream. But just try to imagine. It's a fucking amazing guitar. Can you hear that? Let's see if I put the mic. I couldn't get the right sound out of this guitar for a while. This is a little parlor, and I had too thick of strings on it, and I put some lighter strings on the other day, and it was just, everything opened up, and it became so much more playable. This is my main axe moving forward, probably. Oh yeah, it sounds fucking beautiful. This is just. I bought this guitar a long, long time ago, and it just sat there, waiting for this moment to come out of the case and unveil and unleash the sound that was sitting there, pent up. It just needed a little love. It's a trip, man. It's like it has a speaker in it. It's so loud. And it's just this small little parlor. Yeah, and it has a tinty kind of sound to it. I think partly because of the small strings I put on it. But that makes it so good for this bluegrass stuff that I'm moving into and country kind of licks, where I can go and play with a group of acoustic musicians, a stand-up bass player, whatever, and my guitar cuts right through. And you can hear it really pronounced. Which I can be an arrogant narcissist asshole that way, where I'm like, I want to be heard. I didn't show up so that I can just blend behind you all. I'm the main character. My guitar is the most important. All right, have a good one. Cheers. Yeah, it's great for bluegrass. And I really am aspiring to learn more about that style and get better at that. So it's no accident I got a great bluegrass guitar now. Rock on.